Hey, everybody. Welcome to another session of Pastor Doug's virtual VIP midweek Bible study. Really glad to have you guys here and joining us. As you can see, I'm joined by my ministry partner, Pastor Tall Doug, and we're both coming out of the class reunion from last week,
Mhm.
where Doug and Robin actually celebrated their 50-year
50.
class reunion, and a great turnout. I
It
was
was.
really impressed with the turnout that you guys had because
Right.
there weren't that many for mine, and we're only 1 year older, so
Yeah.
maybe there's not as many there.
Well, we
But
didn't have any in the last 30 years, so it was
yeah,
well way overdue and
yeah,
good committee putting it together.
yeah,
So
they did. They do such a good job, and that's not easy to do. They pull these things together, and we just show up and have the meal and shake hands with
hmm
everybody and all that.
yeah.
But there's a lot that goes into that. So that was really a fun time to get together with all those folks like that. We're doing our session today on the final step of every thought captive, and you know what? I have a lot of respect for Pastor Edelman. Is it
Edelman.
Edelman and the great job that he does? And you know what I found, and maybe you'll can associate with that. The way he thinks, I really love the thought processes that he goes through in doing this. And I have said this almost every Sunday during the campaign that if you can get control of this stuff, you can change your life. Controlling your mind is such a powerful thing. And even something as simple as, or what you may think is simple as, a diet. And within our family
hmm
right now, and some of our closest friends, we have a little diet kind of contest going on. And Allie's kind of the promoter, and she's kind of rev everybody up and sending really nice, now's the day. Let's walk for 10 minutes right now, everybody. Let's pray about this. How about who can do the most setups today? Things like that to try to encourage everybody. All of those exciting messages she sends, I don't do any of them, but I listen to them. but guess who's winning? Guess who is winning?
Ali.
No, no, I'm in the lead right now, and I
Ah,
probably should have said that because it's only going a couple more weeks, but it's based on the percentage of body weight that you've actually lost, and
okay.
and I'm actually for the first time in a long time under 260. I'm
Oh,
259,
congratulations.
so I've lost about 19 pounds, and I'm working on keeping it off. That's the hard part,
hmm
obviously. But it's really fun to be working within that with our families and everything, especially heading into the Thanksgiving season
Oh,
and
that's
everything
tough.
going on. But even like with that diet, it's all a mental thing. It really
hmm
is. It's not like, obviously I'm not going to pass out if I don't get something to eat right away. I've got a little bit of reserve. In fact, that's been my thing all the time with Robin. I said, look, it's going to take a long time for this body to get depleted where I can't function. And you don't know what's going to happen in this world. So I'm prepared in case there's some type of food famine or something going on. I'm ready.
You've got some
Now,
built-in
I don't
stores.
know. What are you going to do? You're going to be knocking on my door because you're going to be hungry, right?
Well, yeah, yeah. I guess I will be.
But our mind is powerful, and it's obviously by design. This is what God has created, and He's given us this ability. We have abilities that animals don't have. A cow can't reason, a dog can't reason anything and figure stuff out. We have these powerful minds, and they can get us in trouble, and they can get us out of trouble. They can help us to survive, and they can make us want to quit. There's just so much that we can do with our minds, and Pastor Edelman's talking about how if we can control that and take charge and captive of the thoughts, then our lives can be totally different. And I say this too, when we're totally different, we help the people around us. It makes our marriages better, our families better. Everybody can benefit by us gaining control and making every thought captive.
Exactly. And when I think about that Pastor Kyle, he was so calm and so I would have pictured him like in a small rural church somewhere,
Hmm. Hmm.
laid back, easygoing. He's in Louisville, Kentucky. His church has 20,000 members.
Wow,
He's the fifth
that's
largest church
incredible.
in the country. And
Incredible.
maybe that leads to or comes from the fact that he's so calm and relaxed and obviously has a good message. But and I've said this over and over again because I've learned it from this guy here, and you've heard him many times. Think, feel, act. Well, if your thoughts are wrong, if they're not based on truth, not based on the Bible, which is truth, then everything else goes downhill. I've said this a few times now. I love this little saying: the facts don't care about your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your feelings are off if your thinking is wrong. And your thinking, if it's not biblical, then it's something you just heard, or maybe you like the sound of it. But if it's not true, then your whole life is going to be off. So you have to do what Pastor Kyle said, what Pastor Doug says, is to get your thoughts straight. And that's not like thinking about what matters to me, what I think is right. Go to the Bible. That's the source.
We're all around people, and you probably could name some people. I think, man, they're a neat person to be around. They're always excited. They're always up. They're always moving forward. And you wonder what is the difference between that person and how they think than me, and why can't I be that way? Well, it starts with how you think. I've been around these exciting people, and they're positive thinkers. They have a great outlook on life. They understand who God is, and where God fits in their life in most cases. And when you have all that, you can be that way. And I love this, that we are choosing. You're choosing every day and every moment how you act and what you say and what you do. And I understand some of it is just how we were raised, and
Hmm.
what our personalities are like. And so some are more reserved than others. But there's nothing keeping you. There's no personality trait that's keeping you from being a positive thinker and looking at the bright side of life. Most of what we do and establish as to who we are, we have learned, and we have decided, and we've chosen it, which means you can relearn it or redecide or rethink how you do life and decide, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it God's way. I'm going to be the person God wants me to be. I'm going to trust in Him. Why have a faith in God if you don't exercise it? We say it, we talk about it. We'd love to do it. We'd like to be that way. But what happens in a pinch? So I'm going to get into a new series here this week, starting about, how do we live this Christian life when things aren't going too good? How do we face the fears that life brings our way when we don't have a good answer? We don't see the final deadline or the goal. We can't reach it. We don't know how to reach it. And where does God come into that? And should this ability that God has given us, this faith and trust, and everything that He's offering us, wisdom and everything that He's offering us, should that dominate our thoughts, or should it be a sideline? Should we be saying, well, no, look, I'm not going to go that way. I'm going to be a realist. This is what I have, and that brings me down. My outlook isn't great. How can I be positive in times like that? So it's kind of a task. And you see people with different personalities, and who's generally upbeat and smiley and happy, and who's usually down and not so happy. And you're making a choice on how you're going to live your life.
Our sister Deb Karpovich, she's involved in many ministries here, and at the end of every one of her emails, she has this little quote. I think it's from Henry Ford, but it says, "If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." Isn't that the bottom line of how we think about things? If, oh, I can't possibly pull that off. I'm not smart enough. I'm not outgoing enough. Oh, you're right. If that's what you think, you can't do it. But if you turn that around and be positive, like Pastor said, be positive about, okay, I'm not used to doing that. Maybe I'm not comfortable, but yeah, well, I can do that. I'll give it a shot. All of a sudden, you're doing things you've never done before. And it's all with God's help. With that positive attitude, you can do it.
Ask yourself, are you leading your people around you and your family to victory? Or are you leading them into doubt and fear? Because you're doing one or the other, by your example, by how you think, by what you say. We're all around people that we know are negative. We know who those people are. We know how they're going to be. And then just think about how that looks and how that feels to be around that person. And sometimes in leadership, you have boards and team meetings and things like that. And you know who's going to be the negative person. We know who's going to say, well, I don't think we can do that. We know who's going to be too conservative. We all know that. We see that. And you're projecting something as well with your life and how you are and how you can do things. And I'm a sports guy, as you know, and it's really, really important. If you're on a team and you want to be a leader, or maybe you're a captain, or maybe you're one of the older people on the team, you gotta rally the troops. You got to get everybody excited and say, hey, I think we can do this, and we can win. I can remember back in some of the days where I thought, man, we're going to get killed, but I couldn't let the other guys know that. I didn't talk like that. You can ask him. I always thought, man, we can beat everybody. I'm not worried. We're the best team out here, and we're going to win. And sometimes we did, sometimes we didn't. But that wears off on people. If Doug and I are meeting as pastors, and I'm just so down in the dumps, and this thing's never going to work, and what do we do? And where's our exit? How do we get out of this? That would be a way of leadership that doesn't really lead to a bright future. But we got to constantly be thinking and excited about what God's doing, what God has done in your life. And I've said this before, you're already a 10 in some category. And so we got to figure that out. But every situation has solutions and remedies. Every situation, no matter how dire it is, has an answer, and it almost always will lie in a relationship with Jesus Christ. And how strong that is, or how solid that is, or building off of the principles of his love and commitment to you.
And with every thought captive, we don't have to sit around and make a conscious effort to have a bad thought or to be down or depressed. It just happens. I mean, we could be sitting in a church service, thought, wow, where'd that thought come from? Get out of my head. But that's the point. You have to take captive that thought and kick it out of your head and change it into something that is positive, that's encouraging, that is what Christ wants us to do. Is it true? Is it honest? Is it praiseworthy? Is it admirable? Those are the kinds of things we're supposed to think about. And you can go to maybe a favorite memory or something about your family, your kids, your parents, somebody. Take that bad thought, immediately replace it with a good thought. Maybe it's a Bible verse, some scripture that is the most meaningful for you. Memorize that and then, oh, get out of my head. Okay, Lord, this is what I'm going to say instead. And that quickly, you're off to a new direction. If you don't do that, that bad thought can just kind of grind. And all of a sudden, 5, 10, 15 minutes have gone by, and you've gone down a rabbit hole, and now you're mad and mean and bitter. And for what? For letting that one bad thought take hold.
Your thoughts control you. Your thoughts determine your peace of mind. Your thoughts determine whether you're a joyful person or a sad person. All of that is your thoughts. So, try to do a self identification. How am I? How am I viewed? How do the people around me see me? Do they see me as a happy, positive, happy person? Do they see me as a sad, negative type of person? What kind of people you want to be around? Some people say, well, I don't like this rah rah, happy all the time kind of stuff. I'm a realist. Are you? Okay, well then, if you're a realist, our bodies are failing. You were born, you grew for about 20 years. Now you're going downhill. How does that make you feel? Well, we could all feel bad about that. I mean, look at our hair. You know, mine used to be black. What color was yours?
I was brown, and then I was happy that it was gray. My mom said, "It's not gray, Doug. It's white." Thanks, Mom.
Well, you know what I tell Daryl? I don't care what color my hair is as long as I have it,
Yep.
because you just don't know. But see, it's perspective maybe, and I think God is into perspective, and He wants us to have a perspective that includes Him, that includes the saving salvation that He's offered us for this world when our time is up, and the promises that He gives us for the daily, day-to-day grind. It's a grind. It's not easy. Things don't always go well. In fact, things often don't go well. You're in an imperfect world with imperfect people, and you're imperfect as well. What do you think's going to happen? There's going to be problems. You have to have this basis of support that's only known in Jesus Christ, in a relationship with Him, and the promises that are in His Word in the Bible. And that's what we promote here at Faith. Really glad that you joined us today. I hope you'll come and be with us Sunday as we head into our holiday seasons here. We'd love to have you be a part of our services at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning. I hope you'll join us this week. God bless you. Thank you, Pastor Doug.
My pleasure.